Blackhawks, Cubs, and White Sox. Comcast Sportsnet.
Well, we will be under a rain delay before the first pitch tonight. It's raining here in Cincinnati, but when we do get underway, it'll be game one. The Cubs winning 2 of 3 in St. Louis and continuing their trip here in Ohio on Comcast Sportsnet. Welcome to Cubs baseball tonight, along with Bob Brentley. I'm Len Casper. It's raining now, but we expect to get this one in at some point. We're told that the first pitch will not be thrown before 7:45. And with the tarp on the field right now, it'll probably be a little longer than that. But when we do get underway, the Cubs are going to have to contain some power. The Reds are tied for first in the major leagues in home runs.
Big-time power ball club. And also in this ballpark, it's very easy for anybody to hit home runs, especially from center field around to the right field line. And as you heard Dan and Josh mention a moment ago, a lot of left-handed thump in this Reds lineup. So those are the guys you're going to have to control.
Well, the middle of their order, those are the guys that the Cubs really have to contain in this ball game tonight. Ken Griffey Jr. with his 25th home run yesterday, 6th all-time on the home run list. How about Brandon Phillips, a second baseman? He's hitting like a corner infielder, and we know certainly about Adam Dunn as well. The other thing I noticed about Ken Griffey Jr., Bob, he's always walked a lot. He's actually walked more than he has struck out. He's done that through an entire season one time in his career, so he's seeing the ball extremely well.
Apparently so. You know, Junior, a lot of people thought maybe his best days were behind him. Those big power numbers were gone, but sitting at .588 and hitting home runs with regularity this season, he's always been a very, very dangerous hitter. He's not a guy that runs very well anymore. Once he gets on base, he's not a threat to steal, but with Junior and Dunn and Phillips in the middle of that lineup, they got some guys that can break a ball game open in a hurry if you're not careful.
And on the other side, this is a hitter's ballpark, so you really hope that the Cubs bats can get going and maybe hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Well, you know, maybe the ballpark will get them going. We've seen some tremendous offense, but it's been kind of a nickel and dime offense. They take their singles, they take their walks. Every now and then somebody will hit one in the gap. When they do come up with a home run, it's almost a surprise, which is totally out of character for the ball club we thought we were going to see coming out of spring training.
Well, the Cubs made a couple more roster moves today. That's become the norm, though, hasn't it? And we're going to talk about these two guys. Matt Merton coming back and really over the last 3 weeks got it going again at Iowa. Rocky Cherry also back, just adding a fresh arm to the bullpen. Billy Petrick option. Along with Jake Fox, we may see one or both back here at the big league level at some point. But, Bob, I talked to Matt Merton before the ball game, and he said mentally the first 80 or 90 at-bats back at AAA were very, very tough for him. He said, I wasn't very good. But he said the last 3 weeks, I kind of started to not worry about things that I can't control. And I think it was an eye-opener for Matt going down to AAA again.
That can be a huge eye-opener for a ball player that thinks he's established himself at the major league level, thinks he's earned the playing time that he needs. And it was a rough go for Matt earlier this season, not only with the bat, but defensively in the outfield. Kind of got behind the 8 ball with the new skipper. But like most of the guys that have been sent back to Iowa, he went down there with a game plan. Took him a little while. He said it was just a matter of getting into a game rhythm, seeing good live pitching on a daily basis. He felt he got into a few bad habits up here, trying to hit for too much power. His swing got really long, which is not the Matt Merton we know and love. He's got that swing shortened up again, waiting on the ball a long time, very selective once again, and that's the Matt Merton we'd like to see.
The Cubs haven't seen any left-handed starters on this trip, nor are they scheduled to, although there's word here in Cincinnati that right-hander Matt Belisle may not make his start on Sunday. If he doesn't start, expect to see left-hander Michael Gosling. But coming up on the next homestand, the Cubs will see lefties. Cole Hamels, Jamie Moyer, I believe Tom Glavine for the Mets, maybe Oliver Perez. So we're going to see Matt Merton, I think, get a start or two here in the next week or so.
Yeah, Lou even intimated down in the clubhouse before the ball game Merton may even get a start in this series, even though it's scheduled to be 3 right-handed pitchers. Lou has been very good about that, getting guys involved in the mix very quickly, whether it's as part of a double switch late in the game, a couple of pinch hit at bats, get a spot start here or there. And he's always liked to ride the hot hand. You call a guy up from the minor leagues like he did with Mike Fontenot earlier this season. If he's swinging the bat that well in AAA, get him in the lineup, try to take advantage of the guy that's swinging the bat really well.
And Billy Petrick really struggled last night, so he's going to go back and work on a couple of things at AAA Iowa. And Rocky Cherry is back, and we saw some things that certainly we like from Rocky Cherry, but another young pitcher, and that last spot in the bullpen has changed quite a bit.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if we liked it. Lou liked what he saw from Rocky Cherry going all the way back to Mesa. He really liked his makeup, his poise out there on the mound. His stuff was very good, and you know, Billy Petrick had a rough outing last night, but it was more a fact of the number of pitches he threw and when he would be available again. And as we know from Lou Piniella, he does not like to get caught short in that bullpen. So with the idea that Petrick wasn't going to be available for a couple of days, they decided to flip him out, bring up Rocky Cherry, and I'm sure we'll see Rocky out there very shortly.
And the Cubs continue to rely on that farm system, and I think at the AA and AAA level, guys know that if they perform, they're going to have a chance to come back. And in talking with Matt Merton, and we've shown you the numbers the last few days, a lot of guys are hitting at AAA.
Well, you'd like that to be the situation all the time. It isn't always the case. I mean, I've been involved with major league teams where you needed to reach down to the minor leagues for help, and you look at the stat sheet, nobody's hitting over 250. Nobody's hitting home runs. Nobody's stealing bases. So for the Cubs to have that kind of depth and that wealth of talent at the AAA level and playing extremely well at this point, that makes the job much easier up here at the big league level.
So the Cubs right now 2 games back of the Milwaukee Brewers. The Brewers are in St. Louis, and while the Cubs were blown out last night, I guess in a strange way, maybe they hope that kick-started the Cardinals because they now play the Brewers for 4. The schedule's really strange in that the Cubs and the Brewers keep swapping opponents.
It's the way it used to be back in the day. You had a travel partner, and every trip you took was with that same travel partner, and the team that you played one series, they would come in and play the next series. I think that was all part of our strategy. You know, you take 2 out of 3 in St. Louis, which is a great. You do that on the road. Anytime you can take 2 out of 3, you'll take it. But the way the Cubs lost that ball game last night, everybody in the Cardinals lineup was really swinging the bat well. Hopefully they'll carry that right over into their Brewer series.
Meanwhile, Cincinnati just won 3 of 4 against Milwaukee. Javier Valentin with 2 game-ending hits in that series, so he's another guy you certainly have to be careful for. And he's a switch hitter late in the ball game, and I think Pete Mackanin will pick his spots with Valentin, one of the best pinch hitters in the game.
Yeah, he has really shown an aptitude for those big pinch hits late in a ball game. It's not an easy job. Cubs were very fortunate to have Darrell Ward early in the season, who was the guy for the Cubs that came up with those big hits late in the game. And Valentin, a guy that he's a little shaky defensively. You take what you get with the glove behind the plate, but he can swing that bat.
All right, we have the catcher. We're going to bring the pitcher into the mix as well. Dan Plesac will rejoin us. We're in rain delay programming before the Cubs and the Reds from Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. More to come. Stay with us. Welcome back to Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. A waterlogged stadium, but actually the field looks not bad right now, and we're getting set for game 1 of a 3-game weekend series at Cubs and the Reds. Thanks to Alan Trammell for joining Josh Mora during our rain delay coverage, and a lot of Cub fans here in Cincinnati. And the Cubs have already beaten Bronson Arroyo twice this year. He was 4-0 against the Cubs in 5 starts in 06, but a couple of guys in the Cubs lineup tonight with good numbers against the Cincinnati right-hander.
Well, Arroyo can be extremely tough. He changes his arm angle from pitch to pitch. He'll throw his fastball anywhere between 75 miles an hour and 94 miles an hour. Just has a good feel for pitching. Cubs have figured him out a little better this year. Last year he absolutely dominated the Cubs.
So let's check in on those numbers. Cliff Floyd 5 for 12 against Bronson Arroyo, and Aramis Ramirez 7 out of 20 with a home run, and they hope to continue to have success tonight in a hitter's ballpark.
Yeah, Cliff has 4 hits in his last 2 ball games on this road trip. Aramis Ramirez has probably been the Cubs' hottest hitter throughout the entire season.
And the starting pitching matchup, Rich Hill beat Bronson Arroyo back on April 14th at Wrigley Field, went 7 strong innings, didn't allow a run. And you see Bronson Arroyo's line that day as well, giving up 8 hits, 6 runs, although only 2 of those runs were earned. So Hill heading into the dugout after throwing his warm-up tosses. And the Reds, I guess a youth movement here in Cincinnati. I didn't realize they made all these changes. But they've gone with the rookies.
It's like a bunch of kids out there. This is one of my favorite promotions, when the kids get to go out and take the field and wait for their heroes to come out of that dugout and autograph those baseballs.
And now Bronson Arroyo will head out to the mound, and I'm sure some autographs will be exchanged as well. I want to see the kid next to Adam Dunn.
Bronson Arroyo, big tall guy out there on the mound. There's Adam. He could probably pick this kid up and take a bite out of him.
He could do that with the umpires.
Adam Dunn, a guy that the Cubs are going to have to control in this series. Brandon Phillips signing an autograph. There's Adam Dunn. Dunn with big time power. I talked to David Weathers, the closer for the Reds, before the ball game today. Only the Reds pitchers got to take batting practice on the field today before the rains came, and asking David about this ballpark, he said it's a tough place to pitch. From center field around to the right field foul pole, the ball just flies out of this park. Not only that, but he said the grounds crew, he didn't say mows the infield, he said they shave the infield. Lightning quick grass here at Great American Ballpark.
We'll see how it plays tonight. Again, the infield should be fine. The outfield took a lot of water, and no wind whatsoever right now. So Arroyo takes his warm-up tosses. And let's check in on the Cubs Southwest starting lineup. Alfonso Soriano leading things off, and it'll be Ryan Theriot at short, batting second. Derek Lee, Aramis Ramirez, Cliff Floyd, 3 through 5. Good to see Mark DeRosa back in the lineup, left with the hamstring injury on Tuesday in St. Louis. Jock Jones in center. Jason Kendall with his second consecutive start after a 2-hit night, and Rich Hill will do the pitching.
Take a look at the Reds defensively. Adam Dunn in left, Ryan Freel in center, Ken Griffey Jr. over in right field. 14 errors among those three guys in the outfield for the Reds tonight. Encarnacion at third base, Keppinger at shortstop, Phillips at second, Conine over at first base, David Ross behind the plate tonight, and Bronson Arroyo, the right-hander, on the mound.
So a 4-11 record, but again, he's been a lot better lately. Over his last 6 starts, a solid 3.10 ERAs, 2 and 3 during that time. That big leg kick, and here we go. A fastball in there for a strike on Soriano, and we are finally underway.
I mentioned Arroyo will throw his fastball anywhere between 75 and 94. The 75-mile-an-hour fastball he may have thrown once. Just, you know, one of those get-me-over fastballs in a 3-0 count. Maybe an overly aggressive fastball hitter at the plate, and he just kind of lobbed one up there trying to get the guy out front. He will consistently sit in the high 80s to low 90s.
The delay was officially 1 hour and 27 minutes. Fly ball deep to right. Griffey's back on it at the warning track, and he makes the catch right near the 370 marker. So Alfonso Soriano deep out there to the warning track in right center, but it's hauled in by Griffey.
Well, I really thought that ball had a chance off the bat. Good approach by Alfonso Soriano on that breaking ball away. Did not try to pull it, just drive it to the opposite field. And chases Griffey right back to the wall at the 370 mark in right center.
A strike on Theriot. Ryan saw his errorless string on defense of 46 consecutive games, and a whopping 346 innings come to an end in the 8th inning last night. Shoots that ball the other way, base hit. And it gets through the legs of Griffey. Theriot will head to second, and he's going to try for third. It'll be a single and a 2-base error, and the Cubs are in business.
Wow. The 7th error on the season for Ken Griffey Jr. We make a lot of fun of Adam Dunn being a truck driver out there in left field. Junior's had his problems defensively this year. Mentioned the rain. The outfield grass obviously was not covered by the tarp during the rain delay we had earlier today. That ball just seemed to kind of plug and stay down, snuck underneath the glove of Junior, and Ryan Theriot, as usual, hustling on those bases all the way around to third base.
Fastball inside on Derek Lee. Runner at third with only 1 out. Lee last night with his first road home run. His 9th of the year.
You know, Len, granted, the Red shortstop Jeff Keppinger hasn't played the whole season up here at the major league level. He is yet to make an error this season, but 16 errors defensively for the infield the Reds are running out there tonight, and 15 for the outfield. I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
Well, normally, the infielders have a lot more errors than the outfielders. Cliff Floyd, for instance, has 0. Just off the inside corner. And a hitter's count for Derek. 3 balls and a strike.
Get it out of the way right now in the first inning. It's going to be an unusual strike zone tonight with C.B. Buckner behind the plate. That's a given.
With a breaking ball, and now 3-2. Infield back. They'll give up a run to get an out. Out into center, and it's Freel trying to set. Terrio tagging. Here comes the throw toward the plate, and Ryan is in. A sacrifice fly for Derek Lee, and it's 1-0.
This is something the Cubs have done so well over the last month or month and a half. Get on the board first. Force that other team to play catch up right from the first inning of the ball game. Ryan Terrio's hustle, making it around to third base on the Griffey Jr. error. Sets it up for D. Lee to drive a sac fly into center field. The Cubs on the board first.
And now nobody on base. Aramis Ramirez pops it foul back behind the backstop. 1 strike. The Cubs cleanup man Derek Lee coming in .353 in his career in this ballpark, and Aramis a little bit better, .354 with 12 career home runs. To short for Jeff Keppinger, and that's the inning. An unearned run for the Cubs against Bronson Arroyo. It'll be Rich Hill to take the mound when we return to Cincinnati. Early in the season now, Pete McCannon, and the Reds 13-8 under their new interim manager. Let's check in on the Reds Southwest starting lineup. Ryan Freel in center field, Jeff Keppinger at shortstop. Interesting story with the Reds shortstops. We'll tell you about that a little later. Ken Griffey at right, Phillips, Dunn, Conine in the middle. Edwin Encarnacion, Dave Ross, and Bronson Arroyo rounding it out.
And here's how the Cubs take the field defensively. Brought to you by Rico. Move your ideas forward with Rico dependability. Soriano, Jones, and Floyd once again across the outfield. Ramirez and Terrio on the left side. Mark DeRosa at second base tonight. Derek Lee over at first. Jason Kendall back-to-back starts behind home plate, and he'll be catching the left-hander Rich Hill.
Hill against Freel, and he fouls back. 20th start for Rich, 6-6. Seeking his career high 7th win. Got a no decision on Saturday against Arizona. It was a quality start, 6 innings, 2 runs, 1 earned, a season high 115 pitches. Was not very easy though. He had to battle through a few of those innings. Swing and a miss.
Well, I think that's going to be a good pitch for Rich Hill as he develops more confidence in that straight changeup. 82 miles an hour. That's a very effective pitch for Rich, especially against the right-handed hitters.
Came back with a fastball, 2-2. And the next one to Freel. Got him, called strike 3. Heater at 89.
I still think there are occasions when Rich Hill can sneak that fastball by opposing hitters because of the reputation of the big over-the-top curveball. You talk to hitters around the National League about Rich Hill, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is he's got that big curveball. And when Rich gets to 2 strike counts, I think a lot of hitters look for the breaking ball, and he's gotten some strikeouts sneaking that fastball by.
Now the shortstop Jeff Keppinger for their shortstop situation in dire straits. He pulls it foul. Alex Gonzalez is on the restricted list to be with his son, who is ill. And that's been going on for quite a while, and the Reds aren't quite sure when Alex is going to return, and certainly his family the most important thing right now. Another foul, this time the other way. Pedro Lopez was filling in, but he went down Wednesday, was hit by a pitch in the left cheekbone, suffered a broken left cheekbone, and immediately went to the disabled list. So they activated Juan Castro from the DL. But Castro has a throwing elbow that may require Tommy John surgery, and he's on the active roster just as an emergency in case they need him late. So that's why Keppinger's been getting all the playing time at shortstop here the last few days.
Well, Keppinger had a real good chance to win that job in spring training had he not broken a finger right at the end of spring training camp. A good-looking young player.
Full count on him. Griffey on deck. Here's the 3-2 pitch. A busted bat flare that's foul. The barrel of the bat ended up almost to third base. Well, let's check in on the weather. On this overcast night, 68 degrees, very high humidity, and moist.
Yeah, especially those areas that were not covered by the tarp. We talked about the outfield grass, probably a little soggy out there. The outfielders' shoes are probably wet by now. And the warning track area around the outside of the field, there are still some puddles visible from up here in the press box. So the infield itself, the pitcher's mound, home plate area look pretty good. Everything else is going to be a little wet.
And it's very wet just beyond the right field fence. Keppinger hit by a pitch up near the wrist or the hand area, and it makes you think about Chase Utley, who suffered a broken right hand when he was hit yesterday. Big loss for the Phillies, but Keppinger appears to be okay, so he's on. Let's see where it got him.
They got him on the back of that left hand. Well, of course, when you have your hand gripped tightly around the handle of that bat, there is absolutely no give whatsoever. A lot of small bones and very little padding in that hand area.
Big hand for Ken Griffey Jr. I mentioned about an hour and a half ago when we went on the air, 63 walks, only 60 strikeouts. So has a chance for the second time in his career in a full season to have more walks than strikeouts. Back in '93 with Seattle, he walked 96 times, struck out just 91 times. Cubs with a big shift put on as Terrio is almost behind second base. I was going to say it's pretty wet beyond the right field fence, the Ohio River.
It really rained hard out there before the ball game. Filled up that hole.
We're on the banks of the Ohio. Flashbulbs popping. We've seen that a lot lately, having just played the San Francisco Giants at Wrigley Field and then the Cardinals and Albert Pujols in St. Louis. The 1-2 to Griffey. Outside on a slider. .588 career home runs for Ken Griffey Jr. Snapped an 0 for 13 yesterday with a big offensive performance. So they have the home run total out in right center, 6th on the all-time list, and he recently passed Frank Robinson. High throw, but no problem for Derek Lee. Cubs scored an unearned run in the top of the inning, aided by a Ken Griffey Jr. two-base error. Rotario single. And a check down at third base. No swing, says Ed Hickox. Well, because of those numbers I just mentioned, we'll see if the Reds do send Keppinger. On the other hand, they hit so many home runs, you may not want to be too aggressive. They do run a little bit. Keppinger without an attempted steal. He's not going to run, and the slow curve misses inside. Well, when Jerry Narron was fired on July 1st, the Reds were 31-51. But since Pete McCannon, a Chicago native, took over, they've won 13 of 21.
You talk about the stolen bases for the Reds. They have some guys in this lineup that can straight steal a base. Ryan Freel jumps to mind immediately. Brandon Phillips, another guy who will steal some bases. But against Rich Hill, I think you're more likely to see aggressive base running when they get to second base. Now, Rich has worked very hard on that move to first. He's tweaked it throughout the course of the season. I think he's finally settled on a delivery with runners at first that he's comfortable with, and appears to freeze the runner over there at first base. That has not been the case with runners at second. They get huge jumps against Rich Hill.
Big bat waggle by Brandon Phillips, and he crushes a foul. Two on with one out. A hit, batter, and a walk. Adam Dunn on deck. The pitch. Didn't miss by a whole lot. He's getting some half check swings, but not full check swings, if that makes sense. I guess by definition, a check swing is not a full swing. But I was reading some Yogi Berra isms today, so I may drop a few of those in there inadvertently. And by accident.
There you go.
Swing and a miss. Strike three. Well, Rich hasn't needed his defense here this inning. He's only needed his catcher. 2 strikeouts, a hit, batter, and a walk.
He's pulling a Satchel Paige. Talk about a half-hearted swing. Brandon Phillips knew he was chasing a pitch out of the strike zone. I think he was just hoping to make contact and foul that high fastball off to the right side, but came up empty.
Adam Dunn is hot. He has hit in 12 straight at a .364 clip. He's 2 for 10 lifetime against Hill.
There's a different look from Rich Hill. We haven't seen that inside move, or some people call it the spaghetti move because of the way the pitcher gets twisted around out there on the mound. But that's one way to slow those base runners down at second.
So Adam Dunn, the 3rd straight hitter with at least 20 homers and 60 RBIs in this Reds lineup. Griffey, Phillips, Dunn.
And my reference to Satchel Paige, for those of you who aren't aware, back in the days when he was in his prime pitching in the Negro Leagues, he was so sure of himself on the mound, he used to call his fielders off the field and stand out there just with the pitcher and the catcher and strike out the side.
Nicely done. That's a Cub fan, right?
Sure it is.
You got it. Wait, he has a Cubs jersey, the hat? That should have been the 3rd out. The 1-1, that is a strike. Not sure if he hit the spot where Kendall wanted it, but it was a strike called, and that's all that matters.
His breaking ball kind of spins up there on the inside part of the plate. Not the location he was hoping for, but it did freeze the hitter.
And now a 1-2 swing and a miss, and the Reds are DUNN in the first. It's 1-0 Cubs after one. Rich Hill striking out all three to get the outs. Freel, Phillips, and done.
Due to the length of this game, we now move ahead in the action.
Get Chicago's sports news nightly on Land Rover Sports Night. Coming up tonight at 10, William Jackson reports from Bears camp, plus a full recap of this game, plus the Brewers in St. Louis. Join Mitch and Luke for Land Rover Sports Night tonight at 10, only on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend. Pretty nice crowd tonight. Maybe a few people stayed away with the long rain delay. Soriano swings at the first pitch. Brandon Phillips is underneath. And one out here in the third, and we're told that might be a sellout tomorrow night. You see a lot of blue in the seats.
Big night in downtown Cincinnati. Big weekend in downtown Cincinnati. They also have a huge jazz festival going on right over at Paul Brown Stadium next door here to Great American Ballpark. A lot of people in the Queen City.
Ryan Theriot with a single. On that same play, the ball got past Ken Griffey. He ended up at third and then scored on a sac fly by Derek Lee. Happy birthday to Cubs general manager Jim Hendry and Greg Albrecht, the son of our producer Bob Albrecht. Greg turning 20. So he's out of his teens. Time to grow up, Greg. No, Greg is a very mature young man.
Get a haircut and get a real job.
Well, Jim Hendry tonight was in Peoria watching Kerry Wood pitch in his second consecutive game, and he was very good. Went 1-2-3. He started tonight instead of coming out of the bullpen because of impending bad weather. 13 pitches, 9 for strikes. His fastball between 92 and 94. Theriot walks and is on base for Derek Lee once again. So we'll see how Kerry feels tomorrow. That's a big step in this process, being able to go back-to-back games, and more specifically back-to-back days. Thanks again to Nathan Believa, the radio voice of the Peoria Chiefs, who always gives us great updates. The pitch to Lee. Curveball backs him off the plate. If you were going to build this matchup, you'd say if you love curveballs, this is your night. A right-hander and a left-hander, they both love that breaking ball. That's a fastball for a strike.
At this stage in their respective careers, Bronson Arroyo is a guy who will throw that breaking ball in any count to any hitter. Very close over at first. Theriot lost his footing as he tried to dive back into the bag. Was just able to scramble in under the tag of Jeff Conine. Rich Hill, on the other hand, uses his curveball in more predictable counts. When he's ahead in the count, has the luxury of missing with the pitch and still being ahead in the count. Arroyo will throw it 3-0 if he feels that's the best pitch in that situation.
Another fastball. Count even, 2 apiece.
Well, this is the real mental cat and mouse game that goes on in baseball when you get a couple of veteran players like Bronson Arroyo and Derek Lee. D. Lee just took an 88-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle. Now, if you're Bronson Arroyo on the mound, you're probably thinking to yourself, he's got to be sitting on a breaking ball. If he's going to take that fastball right down the middle of the plate, he must be looking for a breaking ball. So Arroyo comes right back with another heater. Derek able to get a piece of it and foul it off. Now you're back to scratch again. But for that one pitch, Arroyo thought he had Derek Lee sitting on breaking ball.
Oh, with a tighter curveball that time. Now, we've seen David Ross a couple of times look at his pitcher and shake his head no. We occasionally see catchers do that in that cat and mouse game. So he wants Arroyo to shake him off.
A lot of times you'll see catchers do that in those predictable counts. 2-0, 3-1, 3-2, where the hitter is probably sitting on a fastball. You want to call a fastball, but you want to plant a seed of doubt.
Encarnacion flips it to Phillips, and they turn it. Around the horn they go. 5-4-3. A couple of really nice defensive plays for the Reds tonight. But remember that error that helped the Cubs get the run in the first is 1-0.
Hey fans, the Cubs host the Phillies on Thursday, August 2nd at 1:20. Kids, get to the ballpark early. The first 6,000 children aged 13 and younger will receive an exclusive Chicago Cubs plush bear from Build-A-Bear Workshop. Compliments of Pepsi.
Top of the order now for the Reds. And it's Ryan Freel who takes a pitch way outside. 1-0 Cubs. A wind and the pitch by Hill is a strike on the inside corner. We showed you earlier the collision that sent Ryan Freel to the disabled list in late May. There's an interesting camera angle at the end of that play as Freel finds right center. Jones will get there and keep Freel to a single. Norris Hopper, who collided with Freel, noticed the baseball was very close to his glove. Now watch what he does. As he's checking on his teammate, he very quietly places the ball in his glove.
Well, that is pretty crafty right there.
And they called it an out. Now what do you make of that?
That's pretty heads up by Norris Hopper.
Bunted by Keppinger. Hill will underhand to lead. That'll be a sacrifice bunt. Let's check out the LoJack caught stealing report. LoJack, the only stolen vehicle recovery system operated by the police. So Freel didn't need to steal a base there as he was moved up by Keppinger. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's somebody sitting at home saying you're worried about getting the catch, but you know what? Hopper was checking on his teammate, so it was a combination deal, and he very quietly placed the ball in the glove.
Well, the reality is there's not much Norris Hopper can do other than kneel over his teammate and say, "Are you okay? Where does it hurt?" He called for the trainer to come out from the dugout right away, but had the presence of mind to sneak that ball back into Freel's glove before the umpire got out there to get a good look at it. Very nice. Once again, Rich Hill with that inside move to second base, a potential base stealer out there at second. One thing working against Ryan Freel in this situation is the shift the Cubs have on for Ken Griffey Jr. Puts Ryan Theriot very close to the bag at second base. One thing working in Freel's favor is the fact that Ramos Ramirez is so far off the bag at third. Theriot ultimately will position himself pretty much right behind the runner out there at second base and pound his glove in Ryan Freel's ear so he knows he's right there behind him.
Pulled on the ground right into the shift as DeRosa will throw out Griffey. 2 outs in the inning. Freel's now 90 feet away. And it'll be Brandon Phillips. Remember that awkward swing he took to strike out his first time up. The Reds 5th in the National League in runs, tied for 1st in the majors with Milwaukee with 140 home runs. Curveball strike. Hill has a sign from Kendall. Big leg kick in the pitch, swing and a miss. Brandon Phillips among all second basemen in the top 4 in stolen bases, home runs, hits, and RBIs. So you would certainly say Brandon Phillips a solid Silver Slugger candidate in the National League. Bounce foul the other way. Past Billy Hatcher. Former Chicago Cub and also played for the Reds. He was a 6th round pick of the Cubs back in 1981.
Foul ball right there, a rocket line drive that hit right underneath the lip of the second deck and ricocheted straight down into the lower deck. Looks like everybody's okay.
The 0-2 buried the breaking ball. Good block by Jason Kendall. With Freel breathing down his neck at third base.
Kendall just very calm as he blocks those pitches in the dirt, very much like Brad Ausmus with the Houston Astros, another catcher who is very much under control, stays calm behind the plate, doesn't tense up too much. Very soft target. When that ball hits the chest protector, it just drops straight down. Rich tries to go back to that same pitch he got Brandon Phillips to chase in his first at bat of the ball game. This time Phillips lays off.
Two on the way, and the Reds have tied it. Brandon Phillips with an RBI hit. He's busting it, trying to get to second, and he's in. The throw is a little bit off the mark from Soriano, and Phillips with a double, and it's 1-1.
Clean base hit into left field. Looked like Soriano was a little casual going after this ball. Plays it on a hop. Takes 2 or 3 steps to gather himself. And by the time he looks up to throw the ball back to the infield, Brandon Phillips is about halfway to second base and goes in with a headfirst slide safely.
Too high on a curveball to Dunn. 1-0. RBI double by Phillips to tie it. Rich 1-0 this year against the Reds, 2-2 in his career. One previous start here at Great American Ballpark, it was a loss. Last time the Cubs were here, the first series of the season, and they lost 2 of 3. In fact, they would then lose 2 of 3 in the middle of April at home, so they have dropped 4 of 6 to the Reds. They need to play good baseball against this team. Again, 12 games remaining in the season series, including tonight. Phillips got a big jump and a called strike. Kendall will not make a throw. There you have it. Another stolen base of third against Rich Hill.
For the last 3 stolen bases against Jason Kendall, he hasn't even been able to make a throw. Brandon Phillips with a walking lead at second base. Unfortunately, Rich Hill did not look back there a second time. Normally not a high percentage time to attempt to steal third base, but once again, you have a breaking ball pitcher on the mound. Possibility that big curveball might end up in the dirt.
Milwaukee with 3 in the top of the third in St. Louis, but they're now being delayed by rain. Well, it just says delayed. I'm assuming it's rain. So they lead the Cardinals 3-0. 2-2 on Dunn. It's Claudio Vargas and Mike Moroth in that pitching matchup. Hill ready. The pitch. Fly to left. Should be no problem for Alfonso Soriano, and the inning is over. A 2-out RBI double by Brandon Phillips, and we are deadlocked at 1-1 after 3. Well, it was on this date a couple of years ago. Ryan Freel set a Cincinnati record, stealing 5 bases in one game, and that leads us into tonight's Aflac trivia question. Who holds the Cubs franchise record for most stolen bases in a game since 1900? I think I might know the answer. If I get this right, I think it would be the first time ever I will have gotten consecutive Aflac trivia questions correct.
Did you see that reaction by Aramis Ramirez? That was that get me over nothing fastball I talked about earlier in the game. Bronson Arroyo with a big wind up, the big leg kick comes off the rubber and just flipped it up there at about 75 miles an hour for a called strike.
I think he thought it was low. Fouls it back. 1-2. I think it's lightly raining at the moment. But we always take our cue from the fans, and nobody's moved, so that's a good sign. A light mist. And that one just missed. 2-2. Well, Sports Illustrated did an interesting piece earlier this year on pitchers' windups, and they asked Bronson Arroyo about his unique leg kick. Hammered foul. He said he's been using the same windup since he was 10, and he was trying to make it look like Dwight Gooden. Now, Gooden's wasn't exactly like his, but Arroyo thought it was close and stuck with it. And not many, if any, guys really kick their foot up that high. They usually keep their foot down a little bit, even if their knee goes up.
It's all just a matter of keeping their mechanics together, and a lot of times when you have that kind of a big leg kick, that will put you in a poor position to deliver the baseball, but something Arroyo has done over the years and feels comfortable with. I don't know that I teach a young pitcher to use a windup like this.
Well, there's going to be some youngster in the Cincinnati area who will try to emulate Bronson Arroyo. Curveball hit deep. Left field, Dunn's back, and he's going to catch it. Sounded good off the bat. I could see a bunch of Cub fans up in the seats out in left beyond the National League scoreboard, but instead of becoming a souvenir, Dunn made the catch.
Well, Ramirez wasn't able to extend on this pitch. He saw the breaking ball, he recognized it, but it hung up on the inside part of the plate. Had to really pull his left arm in close to his body to get the barrel of the bat on the ball, and just got jammed enough to keep it in the ballpark.
Another curve and a strike on Cliff Floyd. And I can tell you another thing about Bronson Arroyo's leg kick. There is probably a pitcher or two, or maybe even a position player somewhere currently in the major leagues during batting practice who has it down.
Oh, you know that.
There are a lot of guys who like to say, you know, here's this guy, here's that guy.
Oh, buddy, Mark Mudcat Grant during his days as a player and even now as a broadcaster does tremendous impersonations of umpires. Their strike calls and their out calls, and he is right on. But you're right, players, a lot of downtime in the clubhouse before the ball game, standing around the outfield shagging balls during BP, and occasionally you'll see guys impersonating other players, and some of them are remarkably talented.
3-1 to Floyd. Big swing, and he couldn't come up with it. Now a few people headed for cover as it is raining a little bit harder.
I would assume a lot of kids still do that. I know when I was growing up and we used to play wiffle ball in the backyard, and you were this team and I was that team, and you had to impersonate every hitter in the lineup with your at-bats.
Oh, I did it. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So Arroyo comes back. You know the guy who I used to emulate? Alan Trammell.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He was pretty smooth at short, wasn't he? I mean, I would emulate the way he would turn a double play.
Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker, one of the best double play combinations of all time. There it is again, 78-mile-an-hour fastball, just floated up there.
Diving stop, Encarnacion from his knees throws out DeRosa. So the Reds continue to play stellar defense. It's 1-1 midway in the 4th on a rainy night in Ohio. Time to get the answer to tonight's Aflac trivia question. Talking stolen bases. Who holds the Cubs franchise record for most steals in a game since 1900? I think I got this one right. EY. Eric Young. Yep, 5 against Montreal in 2000.
It was really only 4.2 stolen bases, but with the exchange rate in Canada, it works out to 5.
That's right. Bounding ball to short. Kicks up for Terrio. Jeff Conine is out.
That's one thing that has changed since the Expos are no longer in Montreal. I don't have all that Canadian change laying around on my dresser at home. Used to come home with, what were they called, loonies?
Right, yeah.
Some of that monopoly money. Never knew what to do with it until we went back to Montreal the next year, and since we haven't been back, we've got a few loonies laying around.
Now they don't have any paper below $5, right? That was odd. I don't like to carry around a lot of coins.
They make great ball markers on a golf course.
Well, our director Dave Turner, who directs Blackhawks. Oh man,
go foul.
That ball was massacred, and it's fair, and it's a home run. Edwin Encarnacion just hit one about 5,000 feet. I'll tell you what, I don't think I've seen a ball hit that far this year, and it's been a long, long time since we've seen one crushed like that. And it's 2-1. Well, he's having a big night both ways. He hit it over the foul pole.
That's the longest one I've seen this year. That's one of those situations where a hitter goes to the plate. He's looking for one pitch in one zone, swings as hard as he can when he gets that pitch, and hit it right off the sweet spot of the bat. Wow.
But it still only counts as one.
That's right.
That's the good news. My goodness. His 7th home run of the year, number 141 for the Reds. So they have the lead for the first time. Number 20 allowed by Hill. I was going to say Dave Turner directs Blackhawks games, so he goes to Canada a lot. So if you have any leftover Canadian currency, you might want to pass it along to Bulldog. Well, the home run ball's been a problem as Hill walks Ross. He's given up the 4th most home runs in the National League. Chatting with Kendall. Well, Joe West, the crew chief, was chatting with somebody, I think from the grounds crew, between innings about the rain as it continues to drop, and Edwin Encarnacion dropped the bat head. That ball was way out. The only question was it going to be fair? And it was. 391 feet. It is just 328 down the line. But I think what made it impressive is how high he hit it.
It would have gone further, but it bounced off the moon. 391. That sure seems a lot further than that. Like you said, it was so high over the top of the foul pole.
And Arroyo takes a strike. 2 strikes on him. Well, it has not gone well for the Reds this year, but they have hit for a lot of power. Well, their biggest problem is pitching. That's been an annual problem. 14th in the league in earned run average as Arroyo takes a called 3rd. They've had a lot of bullpen problems as well. They have the worst bullpen earned run average in the National League. Cubs would like to get into that bullpen early, with Arroyo pitching well early on.
You talk about those home run totals for the Reds. Certainly a major factor of that is the nature of the players that they have on this ball club. They got some big, strong power hitters, but also this ballpark figures into it. 84 of their home runs have come here at Great American Ballpark, only 57 on the road. This is a yard that is built to play home run derby.
Well, it's the kind of series in which the Cubs are going to have to hit some home runs. I don't think there's any question about that. I don't think you're going to win a lot of 2-1, 3-2 games in this park. Would have been good timing if the Reds had umbrella night tonight. Although I do see a bunch of umbrellas. You know, there are some parks that do not allow umbrellas. The only problem I would have is if I'm sitting behind someone with the biggest umbrella.
Yeah.
Because a big part for me of enjoying a baseball game is being actually able to see it. Swing and a miss. Strike 3.
That definitely helps.
Encarnacion with a big blast, and the Reds now lead 2-1.
Cubs baseball is brought to you in part by Midas. Visit Midas for brakes, expert auto maintenance, and tires. And by the all-new full-size 2007 Toyota Tundra.
Cub fans still looking to get tickets to the hottest Cubs games this year? Visit Cubs.com and click on Replay, the official secondary market site for the Chicago Cubs. See a Cubs game from the best seats at Wrigley Field. Check out Replay at Cubs.com, where baseball is always on. Now, Lupinella decided to take a little stroll out towards Joe West, the crew chief, and now chatting with the home plate umpires. The grounds crew out there, and this infield now starting to take on a lot of water, and they're trying to keep things dry. And Rich Hill's showing a lot more emotion this year And unfortunately, after giving up home runs and walks, he's shown a lot more negative emotion. I'm real happy with himself.
You see him immediately going down there to work on his cleats. They put some drying agent on the field. You can clearly see it behind home plate, on the mound, in the baselines where the players position themselves on the infield to try to dry up some of the moisture that's falling here. The problem is that drying agent that they put on the field really gums up the bottom of your shoes. You're going to see both pitchers probably taking time every inning to get that dirt out of their shoes. That drying agent clumps up in those cleats and makes it hard to keep your feet underneath your body.
And I'll be honest with you, nothing gets me more angry than having gum on my shoes.
Well, especially for those guys who don't run well. When you carry that little extra bit of weight on the bottom of your shoes, it makes you feel like a Clydesdale on the bases.
Cubs are behind for the first time tonight. By the way, we are soliciting emails tonight for our 6th inning Coors Light Cold Blast to the booth. Len and Bob at ComcastSportsNet.com. If you have a thought or a question. Arroyo dropped down that time and missed 1 and 2. So Len and Bob at ComcastSportsNet.com. We'd love to hear from you. Fastball a little bit inside. Cubs will take that one. 3-2 on Jock Jones. Remember the DeRosa double came after a very close pitch that went his way, and Jones trying to take advantage, and he bounces it foul. And Jason Carr from the Cubs media relations department alerting us to the fact that the DeRosa double was a milestone 2-base hit, the 29,000th double in Chicago Cubs history. Conine knocks it down, and he'll take it by himself.
And Jason told us that he looked through the box scores and counted up every one of them before he came in here to report that little nugget to us.
Until you walked in and said 54, 55 when he was on 28,732. Why is it impossible to continue counting when somebody else walks in and says anything that involves a number?
7, 11, 14, 29.
Kendall trying to get something going. 1 out in the 5th. Bronson Arroyo has settled in, and so has his defense after the Griffey error helped the Cubs get on the board in the 1st. Well, they give Kendall a ton of room out in left center.
Saw Arroyo looking back at the mound right there. Slipped a little bit when he hit his landing hole out in the front. The left foot came down and just gave away a little bit. That's one of the primary concerns of an umpiring crew. When the pitcher loses his footing out on the mound or loses his grip on the baseball because of the moisture, that's the point you have to start thinking about stopping play. I don't want anybody to get hurt.
Gobbled up by Keppinger, and close play at first. He got Kendall. Well, if you're Arroyo, Bob, and you have a 1-run lead here in the 5th inning, and you're having some issues with your footing, how much do you show it?
Well, not very much. I mean, Bronson Arroyo, he's a veteran guy. He knows what he's doing out there. He realizes the circumstances. He needs to get another out here in the 5th inning. I'm sure if C.B. Buckner went out there to ask him how is the mound. Oh, the mound's fine. My shoe was just untied. No problem.
Well, you had that situation in April in Cleveland when Mike Hargrove was still managing the Mariners, and they were down, and there was a point where basically the Mariners said we can't see the ball. Well, they were trailing at the time. And they never did get through that 5th inning. They have here, so it's official. It's the Reds 2, the Cubs 1. Tonight, and pretty good pitchers duel right now. It's 2-1 Cincinnati. The Cubs won the first 2 in St. Louis, lost last night, and they'd like to get that first one. They've been very good in the first game of series lately.
It's going to be tough against this Reds ball club. They've already made a managerial change in the middle of the season. They really feel they have nothing to lose. This is a very loose, aggressive bunch of players over here. Playing nice defense tonight. They're getting a good performance by their starting pitcher, and a long home run off the bat of Edwin Encarnacion to give them a lead.
And it continues to rain here. Rich Hill taking the ball here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And he's going to face Keppinger, Griffey, and Phillips. And if anyone should reach, Adam Dunn. Pitching matchups for the rest of the weekend. Sean Marshall against Aaron Harang. And it's another reason why you really want to take this one. Aaron Harang is 10-2. And the Reds have won his last 9 starts. So you figure that's going to be a very difficult one tomorrow night, although Sean Marshall has pitched well really all season. And then you have Carlos Zambrano against right-hander Matt Belisle on Sunday.
Yeah, Aaron Harang, widely recognized by baseball people as one of the 3 or 4 or 5 best pitchers in the National League right now. David Weathers, I mentioned, I talked to him before the game, said the guy probably should have about 14 or 15 victories right now had the bullpen not gave away some of the games when he had a lead.
Keppinger with a single. Griffey now at the plate. 5 hits for the Reds. The Cubs have 2. Here's the pitch. Ball 1. This is career appearance number 47. Career start number 40 for Hill. 12-15 in his career. 2 complete games. And both complete games coming against the Reds last year. At the belt, now to the plate. 1-1.
Eighty pitches on the game already for Rich Hill. You see him working on those cleats out there. There's a piece of hard rubber nailed down into the dirt behind the pitcher's mound there with a bunch of little things to scrape your cleats on. You'll see Bronson Arroyo and Rich Hill go back there from time to time and try to get some of that drying agent out of their cleats before they get up on the rubber to throw the next pitch. There it is.
I think it's a fossilized porcupine. It just got buried in the mound.
They used to always use the old tongue depressors. Go back to the bench, and the trainer would pass out the tongue depressors or the popsicle sticks, and everybody went to work on their own cleats and clean them out.
I think the key on that one is that you say before you use it on your spikes, right? Not the other way around.
I always preferred to call them tongue stimulators rather than depressors.
2-2 on Griffey.
Well, one thing about this shift, Len, you will get some unusual looking double plays. It doesn't happen very often because Junior doesn't hit a lot of balls to the left side on the ground. But I've seen it happen before where a dead pull left-handed hitter like Ken Griffey Jr. cues one off the end of his bat to the third baseman. Well, with this setup, there's only one guy who can cover second base. So you potentially end up with a 5-6-3 double play. Ryan Theriot, the only middle infielder that could get to the bag in time to cover.
Close pitch. Called ball 4. Kind of a delayed reaction by everyone involved. And 2 on with no outs for Brandon Phillips. And the rain continues to fall. These are the real tough ones for the crew chiefs because it's just not raining hard enough. But it hasn't stopped. And it would seem to indicate that Joe West has been told that it's going to stop here at some point soon. I mean, if somebody told him, look, it's basically going to do this for the next 3 hours, now that we've gotten here into the 5th inning, he might be more apt to delay the game. Although if he is told it's going to rain the rest of the night, he might just be trying to get in as many innings as possible now, understanding that once we stop, we may be done. Check swing, and he held up. Now, we had a question, we had an email earlier, I think last week, about what the role of the crew chief is, and this is one of those big, I think, duties of a crew chief is to determine when to stop a game due to rain. Kick and the pitch, line foul. And I'm sure there's a lot of training involved, but this is one of those that comes down to experience. And, you know, you're not a meteorologist, but what you do is you rely on the meteorologists that the Reds rely on. Rocky Cherry is up in the bullpen.
And once again, one of the determining factors when it is a steady, gentle rain like we're experiencing right now, the cumulative effect eventually will cause the playing field to become dangerous. Pitchers slipping and sliding out there on the mound, guys slipping and sliding around the bases. The baseball is so wet that the players can't get a good grip on it. And at that point, you have to take the safety of all the players into consideration. The last thing you want as a crew chief is to have somebody get hurt out there because the field was so sloppy and they couldn't continue to play the game safely.
Hill trying to avoid more trouble. First and second, no outs in the middle of their order. This is a cleanup guy, Brandon Phillips. Boy, 3-1. You just don't have a good feeling here in this part of the order with Hill struggling with his command.
Boy, and you'd like to leave him in to face at least the next hitter, Adam Dunn, a lefty. 3 right-handers in a row after that. So I'm sure Lou Piniella is going to try to extend him through Adam Dunn if possible.
3-1 on Phillips. Here's the pitch. Big call, 3-2. So he still has a chance. The 3-2 to Phillips. Deep to left, but not deep enough. Soriano with a catch, and the runners will retreat. A huge first out.
Just didn't get all that ball, got in on him just a little bit. Routine fly ball to left for Soriano. It is a big out. Adam Dunn second on this Reds ball club, grounding into 10 double plays on the season. Surprisingly, Brandon Phillips leads the ball club with 16 double plays grounded into. I think that's because of his follow through after his swing. He gets himself into a bad position. It takes him a while to get started out of that batter's box.
Took a lot off that curveball, 69 miles per hour. Dunn takes up pretty much all of the batter's box, corner to corner. And if you can actually see what the batter's box is, give you a lot of credit, because there's not much chalk left.
No, that's just essence of batter's box now.
Kick in the 0-1 outside and low.
You notice Adam Dunn trying to wipe the bill of his batting helmet with his shirt sleeve. What'll happen is that rain will gather on top of the helmet, run down onto the bill of the cap, and then as you're standing there watching the opposing pitcher, the rain starts to drip off the bill of the cap. Needless to say, that can be distracting.
Popped him up off of third. Ramirez over, not much foul territory, and he won't have room. You know, back on the batter's box, I think a lot of hitters, you know, try to pretty much obscure the back line, and a lot of times their foot will be out of the box. I think if you took away the chalk completely, a lot of guys would be messed up. Don't you think?
Oh yeah, and it's been known to happen at times that the grounds crew comes out and maybe it's a rookie, his first day on the job or something, and they don't put that frame down exactly where it's supposed to be. Sometimes the box will end up a little deeper than it should be, a little further out toward the mound than it should be, and hitters notice immediately. They know that with my foot on that back line, my front foot should be exactly right there, and I'm comfortable in this spot. When that's off at all, a hitter notices it immediately.
Long pause by Hill. Dunn asks for time and he gets it. No pitch.
I've never seen it happen at the major league level, but I have seen it happen in the minor leagues before, where you have a lot of young intern type guys working on the grounds crew for the summer and put the chalk lines out on the field and walk away, and you look at the batter's box and it'll be pointed toward right center field. It's not even lined up with the middle of the field. Visiting manager came out, pointed it out to the umpire. They had to start all over again.
Kendall told Hill to shake him off on the first sign. The 2-2 pitch popped up again. Kendall giving it a look, and again no play. Did that bounce off the umbrella?
Well, it got the umbrella and part of the fan underneath the umbrella. Boy, as if pitchers needed any more to deal with. No foul ground here at Great America Ballpark.
Hill coming again. Fouled straight back that time. Respective laundry rooms aren't going to smell too good after this game. Be a lot of wet uniforms. Another 2-2 pitch, and he freezes him. Called strike 3.
The 123rd strikeout this season already for Adam Dunn. I mean, this is a guy that's obviously a very dangerous hitter. He ranked 4th in the National League coming into play tonight in home run ratio. 1 home run every 13.2 at bats, but he strikes out 1 out of every 3.
Strikeout number 8 for Rich. Larry Rothschild out to chat with him. And they'll discuss strategy against Jeff Conine. I believe, Bob, Jeff Conine has put the first pitch in play both at bats. His first at bat a double to right. The second at bat a ground out to short. So they may be talking about the first couple of pitches in a sequence. And you have to think Conine's thinking, well, he knows I've swung at the first 2, and it's that he knows that I know that he knows.
Sure. You know, one tip-off may have been earlier today, Len. As you know, we get the local radio broadcast in the press box up here before the ball game, and I heard an interview with
Scott Hatteberg, the other part of the platoon at first base. Hatteberg, another veteran hitter, knows how to set up a pitcher, what to look for in certain situations. And he was asked, what would you do if you were facing Rich Hill? And Hatteberg said, I think I would have to attack a pitch early in the sequence. Try to get him early before he could get to the curveball. And I'm sure Jeff Conine and Scott Hatteberg talk a lot of hitting together. And Conine has been very aggressive in his first 2 at-bats of this ball game.
Keppinger at second, Griffey's at first. Hill trying to escape here in the 5th inning. Curveball strike. Conine not only wiping off the bill of his helmet, but his bat. Two to 1 Cincinnati on a rainy night. Game 1 of 3 this weekend. Ground ball. Ramirez knocks it down. The throw's going to go nowhere as Terrio just holds on. Bases loaded. Looked like Aramis slipped a little bit as he tried to get over there to make the play, but by just simply slowing it down, he saved a run. And Conine picks up his 2nd hit tonight.
Yeah, with that runner at second base, if you can't get to it and field it cleanly, at least try to get a piece of it and knock it down. Ramirez is able to do that. Terrio wisely didn't risk that throw across the infield right there. Keppinger with pretty good speed. The runner now at third base. Any errant throw across the diamond to first, he probably comes home and scores.
And the storyline of the night for Encarnacion, his first 2 at-bats, all or nothing. He struck out his first time. The second time he got all of a solo home run to left. His 2nd career homer against Hill. Yikes.
Yikes is right.
500 with the bases loaded. 2-0 now. And Hill continuing to have problems with his shoes. Going to the back of the mound again. The rain has not stopped, but it has dissipated quite a bit over the last 5 or 6 minutes. I would say he was out in front just a little bit. That was a Rob Deere foul ball.
Hit it in the hot dog stand. He jerked that ball right over the third base dugout off the facing of the very upper deck here at Great American Ballpark. But normally you see a swing like that on a fastball. The next pitch would be some kind of an off-speed pitch, figuring he's way out in front of an 87-mile-an-hour fastball. He's got to be out in front of anything slower than that.
Ground ball to short. They'll get the out at second base, and Hill gets out of it. Reds lead 2-1. Coming up, Soriano, Terrio, and Lee in the 6th. Pledge your allegiance to the Cubs by becoming a founding member of the Cubs Club, the new official online fan club for the Chicago Cubs. Cubs Club members will receive benefits unavailable to other fans, including your very own 2007 membership card, MLB.com's game day audio for the 2007 regular season, and much more. To join today, visit Cubs.com, where baseball is always on. Cubs trail 2-1, and now time for our Coors Light Cold Blast to the booth. Here's the email. Bob, last night after Pujols got hit by a pitch, you referred to it as a Tony Roma fastball. I was curious to know what you meant by that, because it just so happens that my name is Tony Roma. And that email comes from Tony Roma in Gurnee.
Well, Tony, we heard all about your fastball when you were in high school, so no. Yeah, really it refers to any pitch that hits a batter in the rib cage. Yeah, Tony Roma's ribs, you know.
I loved it.
Not sure what part of the country you're from, but in a lot of parts of the country, Tony Roma's is a famous rib joint, so that's what players refer to as a Tony Roma fastball.
Thanks for the email, Tony. Swing and a miss by Soriano. 2 strikes on him. We also got an email from Big Papa KP in Warsaw, Indiana, and talking baseball lingo. He hears us talk about guys, quote, shortening their swing as Soriano didn't swing. Takes a called third. 1 out. He wants to know what we mean talking about a guy shortening his swing.
Well, more than anything else, for me, it just means a guy tries to make contact, especially the big guys in the middle of the lineup. When they get to 2 strikes, the first 2 pitches, they're going to let it fly. Try to get full extension. Really involve your legs and your upper body. Use your big muscles to try to drive the ball. And then with 2 strikes, you shorten your swing. And by that, I just mean you try to get the barrel of the bat on the ball. You're not trying to drive it out of the ballpark. You're just trying to put it in play. Sometimes it actually involves physically choking up on the bat a little bit for some guys, just to shorten everything up. You can wait on the ball a little bit longer, be a little bit quicker. Of course, you're not going to hit the ball as far if you make contact, but in certain situations, you're not worried about driving the ball out of the ballpark. You just want to put it in play.
Well, the Cubs without a hit since the DeRosa double way back in the 2nd inning. Terrio lifts it to shallow right as Griffey comes in to make the catch. You know, this is one of those games that it doesn't feel like it's 2-1. It feels like the Cubs are down 6-1. But the good news is they're only down 1. I mean, the way Arroyo's pitched and the way Rich Hill has, I think, struggled through his 5 innings, it definitely feels different than the score. But the Cubs are 1 swing away from tying this ball game. And you can really tell right now Arroyo working with a quick pace. He is definitely in a comfort zone, even though he, like Hill, has struggled getting that dirt, drying agent, what have you, out of his spikes. 1-1. The big curveball. There it is for a strike. You saw the 2 fingers from Ross. And I think another curveball. Swing and a miss. So Bronson Arroyo's grooving along. Bottom 6, 2-1 Reds. Time now for our Comcast Sportsnet poll question. To whom do you give the most credit for this year's turnaround? Text 1 for Jim Hendry, the general manager, 2 for Lou Piniella, the skipper, 3 for the players, and 4 for all of the above. Text your message to 65295. We'll have results a little bit later on.
I know which one I'd vote for.
Well, get your cell phone on and text us. You know, we should try it. I'm going to actually try that. Rocky Cherry is back with the Cubs. His 3rd stint here in his rookie season. So he'll make his 10th appearance. He's in. Billy Petrick back to AAA Iowa, along with catcher / infielder Jake Fox. Matt Merton also called up today. And first pitch strike as Rich Hill went 5 innings, 104 pitches. It was a battle again. But he gave up just 2 runs, giving his team a chance tonight. 3 walks, 8 strikeouts, 1 home run. 6-5-2-9-5. So what do I do? I don't even know how to do it. Do I actually punch a number and then? This is brutal. I don't even know how to do it. And we talk about it every night.
I use mine to order pizza, and that's it. I don't even know how to text on my phone yet.
Oh, okay. All right. Our producer Bob Albrecht is walking me through it. I have to create a text message. Create message, select. New text message, select. Okay, I got it. 1-2 on Dave Ross. Oh, the slider, and it was just out of the zone. 2-2.
Well, that's a good pitch right there from Rocky Cherry. Ahead in the count, 1-2. You throw a slider up there that looks like it's going to catch the corner of the strike zone and then just drop off at the last instant. You get a lot of swinging strikes on that pitch with 2 strikes.
2-2 inside on a fastball. See, my problem is I don't know how to use that fast thing that pops up where it gives you choices of words. People can type really fast on their phone. Yeah. I can't do that. Almost hit him. It's ball 4. So Arroyo now will likely try to bunt his battery mate into scoring position. 4th walk.
Not the swiftest runner on this Reds roster. Should Arroyo bunt that ball hard somewhere where the Cubs can get to it quickly on defense, they may have a chance to get the force play at second base here. Arroyo fouls it off of Jason Kendall. It's always a big swing pitch in at bat when you have a pitcher at the plate trying to put down a sac bunt. If the first pitch is a ball, it gives that manager the option of possibly playing hit and run if he has enough confidence in his pitcher to make contact. But when it's a strike, he's probably going to bunt, and he does. He pulls it back, looks to take a slice swing, takes it for a strike. Now in the hole 0-2.
Two strikes on the pitcher Arroyo. Now 1-2.
In my days as a manager of the Diamondbacks, in a situation where we had a pitcher at the plate that we were confident that could make contact, I always loved to show bunt on the first pitch and take it. Ideally, it's a pitch out of the strike zone. Even sometimes if it was a strike, put the hit and run on the next pitch.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3. So Arroyo has struck out 3 times tonight. And it's Ryan Freel, the leadoff hitter. Quick throw to first, and Ross back at plenty of time. Cherry coming back, and Freel plunked by a pitch. So the Reds have 2 base runners without a hit, a walk, and then 2 batters later a hit batter. That's 3 hit batters tonight. Kendall got hit for the Cubs, Keppinger and Freel for the Reds.
Boy, that's a tough one as a hitter that starts a little bit behind you. Your first instinct as a hitter is to back away from the plate to get out of the way of the pitch, but when the pitch is behind you, you end up backing right into it.
Well, the Reds have had all kinds of chances tonight. They have left runners on in every inning. Rich Hill able to escape in the 5th inning. He allowed the first 2 to get on base, but did not give up a run. And now here in the 6th, Rocky Cherry with 2 on and 1 out. Slider low and outside. 1-1. By the way, I believe successfully sent in my text message.
Who'd you vote for?
I'm not saying. Okay. Soriano will chase it down, and he dropped the baseball, and the Reds will try to get two. The throw goes towards second, and it's now 4-1. Ross was going to score either way, but after that ball got away from Soriano, Freel was able to come around from first and score. So we'll see how they score it as the Reds now lead by 3.
A well-hit ball into the gap in left center. We've talked about the rain throughout the evening. This ball kind of hydroplanes and almost scoots past Soriano. He's able to reach out at the last instant and get the ball, but because he was so far extended just to get to the ball, as he spins around to throw, he loses the handle. Fortunately, Jock Jones right there, but with Ryan Freel's speed and aggressiveness on the bases, he scored easily.
And that'll be it for Rocky Cherry. Left-hander Will Oman is coming in with Griffey due up. It's 4-1 Reds. So here's left-hander Will Oman. The scoring on that last play, a double by Keppinger. He gets 1 RBI, and Soriano charged with his 5th error, all in the last couple of weeks, allowing Freel to score as well. So it's Oman versus Griffey. Pete McCannon splitting up his left-handed power hitters. After Griffey, it's Phillips and then Adam Dunn. Keppinger at second base, 1 out, and the Reds leading 4-1.
Well, Oman has done a nice job in his career controlling Junior. 2 for 11 coming into play tonight. That's a 182 batting average. He struck him out 4 times.
Up the middle, they had the shift on, so Terrio will throw out Griffey. Normally that's a single into center, scoring a run, but not against the shift. So Phillips comes up with 2 outs and a runner at third. Let's check out some poll results. A Comcast Sportsnet poll question. To whom do you give the most credit for this year's turnaround? Hendry, Piniella, the players, all of the above, and Lou Piniella getting most of the votes. I voted for 4.
I did as well. When things go good, everybody gets the credit. When things go bad, everybody has to take their share of the blame. Jim Hendry's made some big moves in the offseason, some subtle moves during the course of the season. Certainly Lou Piniella has had a big influence on the turnaround of this ball club, and the players have done their part as well.
Well, he'll be the first to tell you you can't win without good players. And I think any good manager would tell you that.
Yep. It's amazing how smart you are when you have good players.
Derek Lee under it, makes a catch. So a good job by Oman to get out of the inning, but not before the Reds got a couple against Rocky Cherry.
Due to the length of this game, we now move ahead in the action.
Right-hander Michael Wirtz now on in the bottom of the 7th. Nobody on, 1 out, facing Jeff Conine. Cubs trail by 3.
Solid outing from Will Oman tonight. Got the last 2 outs in the 6th inning against Ken Griffey Jr., Brandon Phillips, and then retires Adam Dunn to lead off the 7th inning here. Turns the ball over to Michael Wirtz to attack these right-handers at the bottom of the Reds order.
Got that slide piece over, 1-1. The next pitch, check swing. They'll go down to first. Joe West says nope, he held up. Bottom 9 in Houston, Padres 9, Astros 3. Phillies leading the Pirates 8-1 in Philadelphia. Top of the 8th inning, the Phillies acquired Tadahito Iguchi from the White Sox a day after Chase Utley suffered a broken right hand when he was hit by a pitch. 2-2 in the dirt. Well, that is now a finally rain-shortened 8-1 Phillies win. Utley will probably miss 3 to 4 weeks. Had a pin placed in his hand. This is going to be a tough play. Wirtz over to first, and Lee will not even make an attempt. So Conine with his 3rd hit and his 2nd infield hit tonight.
Now, Jeff Conine could not have caught that ball and rolled it out there any better than he did right there. A cue shot that was right over there in that Bermuda Triangle between the pitcher, the first baseman, the second baseman. You see Michael Wirtz goes after the ball, then he goes toward the bag. Derek Lee finally goes to pick it up, and by the time they get it together over there, you can see Derek Lee was calling, get to the bag, but because of the line Michael Wirtz took to go after the ball, he was in a bad position to get back to the bag at first.
Swing and a miss by Encarnacion. Back to Utley. Actually, the story says he could miss 3 to 4 weeks after having surgery today. And Cubs catch a break, no pun intended, in that Utley, one of the league leading hitters, will not be in that series. A 4-gamer coming up at Wrigley Field on the next homestand. 2 strikes on Encarnacion.
Talked earlier about Aaron Harang being the pitcher in the National League that might be the best pitcher nobody knows about. Yeah, Chase Utley might be the best hitter that nobody really knows about outside of Philadelphia. Really good player.
And I guess it just touched part of the bat, so that became a foul tip and a strikeout.
Called a foul tip straight into the glove of Jason Kendall. Encarnacion with no argument just heads back to the first base dugout.
David Ross back in the Reds lineup a couple of days after suffering a dislocated right pinky finger on a headfirst slide, one of Bob's favorite maneuvers.
That's always the danger, getting one of your fingers or your thumb hung up on the corner of the bag when you slide in there, sometimes getting it hung up on the infielder's foot. We'll get a look at it back on Wednesday against the Brewers. David Ross chugging into second base and jammed that right hand hard into the bag at second. And that was the result. Well, you can only imagine what that must feel like just 2 days after dislocating your pinky finger, which doesn't even sound good to begin with. Here's David Ross taking his at-bats, catching a ball game in the big leagues. It's just a little finger out there toward the end. It's not that big of a deal.
I do wonder how comfortable it is to swing the bat, and I say that because he's walked twice tonight and has been extremely patient at the plate. And I know there are times when, if it is uncomfortable to swing the bat, you will see guys take more pitches.
Oh yeah, you do not want to commit to that swing if you're having pain, unless you're sure you can make contact with that pitch. A lot of times the swing and miss is what really hurts a lot worse than making contact. And I would think with a dislocated pinky on Wednesday, the thing that probably hurts the worst for David Ross is making bad contact, hitting the ball out near the end of the bat or down near the trademark, where you get that vibration through the bat into your hands and up your arms. I would imagine that would cause him some discomfort.
The 2-2 from Wirtz. Pulled foul. Good move by Mark Berry, the third base coach, to get out of the way.
Well, just in case that Pinky was starting to feel better, David Ross took a foul tip that caught him on that bare hand. He tried to get it behind his back, but was just a little bit lazy. Didn't get it all the way back there, and Rich Hill's foul ball caught him on that throwing hand.
Sliders just a little bit away, 3-2, and that'll allow Conine to get a head start on the payoff pitch that'll be coming up. Conine runs, Ross swings and fouls it back. Big hits tonight for the Reds. The home run by Encarnacion to give them a 2-1 lead in the fourth, and then the RBI double by Jeff Keppinger in the sixth inning. The Reds would get 2 runs on that play. The second run coming in after an Alfonso Soriano error. Called strike 3 on the fastball. A hit, no runs. It's getting late. 4-1 Reds. It's 4-1 Cincinnati, and while we have a moment, they had a moment of silence before the game, and Norris Hopper now playing left in memory of former Xavier University men's basketball coach Skip Prosser, who died yesterday at age 56 after jogging near Wake Forest University. He was a very popular coach here in Cincinnati. And also Mary Grand, the mother of FSN Ohio broadcaster, and our good friend George Grand. So our condolences to George and his family. His mom passed away at age 101. So Jason Kendall will lead off the 8th inning for the Cubs. And Matt Merton has a bat in the on-deck circle. Matt just got called up tonight and was red hot at AAA Iowa. So he'll pinch hit for Michael Wirtz, and hoping he bats with a runner on. Arroyo has gone the distance. This is pitch number 108 of his evening. Ball 1 on Kendall. Big crowd sticking through the rain. 36,635. And it's not raining right now. And Kendall shoots it into center, and it will be caught on the slide by Freel. So here's a pinch hitter, Merton.
Great numbers at AAA Iowa in 39 ball games for Matt Merton. A lot of those home runs coming just in the last week to 10 days. Really been swinging a hot bat.
And coincidentally, back here in Cincinnati, Matt Merton was the Cubs opening day starting left fielder on April 2nd. Alfonso Soriano was in center. Jock Jones was in right. And tonight Soriano in left, Jones in center, Floyd in right, and Matt Merton coming off the bench. Seems like a long time ago, doesn't it?
Boy, it sure does.
Matt Merton hit second in the lineup on opening day. Very patient hitter. And a ground ball to Keppinger. throw. And it goes out of play. That'll allow Merton to go to second base. Keppinger with his first error. Boy, that was routine. And we'll see if the Cubs can take advantage.
And the real factor there was Matt Merton was leaning out of the batter's box as he made contact with that ball. Kind of had a head start down that first baseline, and when Keppinger looked up and saw how close to the bag he was, he rushed his throw and airmailed it into that camera pit down the first baseline.
And we're getting into that part of the order where this might be the Cubs' best opportunity here in this inning. Soriano, Terrio, Lee, Ramirez. They'd like to at least get a couple here. You don't have to get all of it in the 8th inning, but trailing by 3, or if you could get a couple of runs, at least make it a 1-run game. And knock Arroyo out of the box. And on the hands, fouled back. Well, one early trend for Pete Mackanin. He's not afraid to let his 2 horses go deep. Aaron Harang's last start, he went 10 innings. Popped him up. Out into center field. Merton will tag, but he's going to hold there as Freel makes a catch. And I think one of the reasons Pete Mackanin has allowed Harang and Arroyo to go deep is those bullpen issues that we mentioned earlier. That'll usually make up your mind for you.
When your bullpen stinks, you tend to go with your starters a little longer. They've really had some problems down there in the pen this year for the Reds.
Knee buckler. About a line shot, base hit into right to score a run and bring up Derek Lee as the tying run. Now the heavy lifting begins for Ryan Terrio, down 0-2. I think Arroyo knows this is it for him. He's going to air it out. Over 120 pitches on the night. Former Cubs pitching and bench coach Dick Pohl, the pitching coach for the Reds. Terrio on his way to second base. So an unearned run.
Good battle there by Ryan Terrio. Laid off some tough breaking balls just off the plate away. Arroyo finally makes a mistake. A belt-high breaking ball on the inside part, just past Encarnacion down into the left field corner.
So that'll be it for Bronson Arroyo. Gives the ball to his manager. And they're going to go with the closer. David Stormy Weathers, former Cub, will try to get the final 4 outs. Tying run at the plate, and we'll be back. The Reds double switch. Scott Hatteberg comes in to play first base and will bat 9th, meaning he'll lead off the bottom of the 8th. And because of those bullpen problems, that bridge from the starter to the closer has been a problem. So He's not even going to go to a setup guy. He's going to go right to David Weathers. Stormy, his last time out, picked up a 2-inning save versus Milwaukee. He's trying to get the final 4 outs facing Derek Lee, and Derek has not had much success against Weathers.
Well, it doesn't matter what kind of bridge you have in your bullpen. When you have a closer with these kind of numbers against a hitter like Derek Lee, you bring him into the ballgame. Derek Lee, lifetime 1 for 18 against David Weathers, and that was a single in his second at bat against the right-hander.
Well, hopefully that means he's due. 1 ball, 1 strike. Nothing fancy from David Weathers. Pretty much sinker slider. There's the slider. 1-2. Cubs with just 4 hits against the starter, Bronson Arroyo. And Lee with an awkward cut at the slider. Couldn't get it. They do get 1. Bottom 8, it's 4-2. Time now for the Sharp Aquas detail of the game. It was 1-0 Cubs in the second inning, and Ryan Freel not only stole away a hit from Jock Jones, but also took away a run because Mark DeRosa was at second base at the time, and he easily would have scored.
Talk a lot about momentum in the game of baseball. That was a defensive play that swung the momentum in favor of the Reds.
So that kept it 1-0. The Reds would tie it in the 3rd, take the lead in the 4th, 2 more in the 6th. The Cubs coming back with 1 in the 8th. And Scott Air tries to keep Cincinnati at 4. They'll face Scott Hatteberg, who just came in. And in the 9th, the Cubs will have a chance. Ramirez, Floyd, and DeRosa against David Weathers. But it goes hand in hand. A big part of that means Scott Air has to work a clean 8th. Scott Hatteberg lifts it to right. No problem. Cliff Floyd, 1 out. An interesting situation in Baltimore tonight. The Yankees and Orioles before their regularly scheduled game, and the Orioles won that game 4-2. They had to finish a suspended game, which the Yankees won 8-7. And what made it interesting is, and that game was played on June 28th, started on June 28th and ended tonight. With A-Rod sitting on 499 home runs. If he had homered in the completion of the suspended game, which he did not, but if he had, it would not have been his 500th home run. Freel turns on it toward the left field corner. Soriano over, and it's a fair ball. And Freel has a double. Big night for Ryan Freel. He's already scored twice.
A little cut fastball, maybe a slider that ended up down and in. Soriano chases it all the way to the corner where it drops about a foot fair. Rattles around down there. The base of the foul pole. Freel ends up second base.
So this is how quirky the wonderful baseball rules are. If A-Rod had hit number 500 tonight, it would have been number 493, because the rule, which is 10.23 subheading D, Quote, all performances in the completion of a suspended game shall be considered as occurring on the original date of the game. So home run number 499 would have become number 500. You gotta love the game of baseball. Now I guess A-Rod has number 499, and it'll stay 499 because he didn't hit number 493 in the suspended game.
Oh, brother. I'm pretty sure there were lawyers involved when they made up the rules of this game.
Keppinger with a ground ball to second, Freel to third, but there are 2 outs now. Well, Joe Torre can actually relate. When he won the MVP in 1971, he had a 5-hit game, but it was in a suspended game. He had his 4th and 5th hits in the completion of the game. So it was actually, as he said, a couple of months in between hits 3, 4, and 5. Well, Lupinella walking out. Former Reds manager. He won the World Series here in 1990. So it sounds like boo, but I think they're saying Lou. That's Cubs and probably Reds fans as well. So he's just going to chat with Scott Air here, who's facing Ken Griffey Jr. And while that quirky situation kind of played out tonight with the Yankees, just think if that had been the case with Barry Bonds. I mean, you know, a home run to set the all-time home run record, and if you'd had a suspended game situation, could you imagine?
Don't even want to think about it. I'll tell you the reason for that visit to the mound by Lou Piniella. Lifetime Ken Griffey Jr. against Scott Air. 8 for 22. That's a .364 batting average. 4 of the 8 hits are home runs. And obviously with the base open here, Lou just wanted to make sure that either Scott Air knew exactly how he was going to go after Ken Griffey Jr. or let Scott Air know, I don't care if we walk this guy. Don't give him anything good to hit.
Well, it was September 25th of last year when Jr. was called on a pinch hit in the 8th inning against the Cubs for his first at bat in 3 weeks. He had been out with a toe injury, and he hit a 3-run game-winning home run. So that was one of those home runs against Scott Air. It's lightly raining again, but not very hard. Off the end of the bat. Well, we normally like to walk back to the team hotel here in Cincinnati, but we'll have to gauge the rain. If the Cubs come back and win, I don't mind.
No.
Laced foul the other way.
Watching the course of this at bat here for Ken Griffey Jr. against Scott Air. Thinking back to Dan Plesac when we were filling time during the rain delay, talking about left-handed pitchers against left-handed hitters, and a lot of times they get too reliant on their breaking ball. That time Scott Air rushed a fastball in there, and Jr. was well tardy on that pitch. One slider away, or rather Scott Air one slider away, shook to get to it. Slider away once again. Just off the plate away.
By the way, do we have a name for the prickly rubber contraption behind the pitcher's mound that has gotten a lot of use tonight?
I don't know that it has a name. Prickly rubber contraction or contraption sounds good.
The 3-2 to Griffey, and he walks. And that'll be it for air.
Called a cleat cleaner.
I like that, yeah. Well, he's calling for a right-hander to face Brandon Phillips, first and third for the Reds.
Yeah, we'll probably get a nasty letter from somebody who invented that thing, and it's actually named after him.
It's Carlos Marmol to come on. We'll be back to Cincinnati. Now the Cubs Feltco upcoming schedule on Comcast Sportsnet tomorrow night, 6 o'clock Central Time. Monday night as the Phillies come in for the first of 4. We'll also have Wednesday night's contest as well. Remember, 6 o'clock at Wrigley Field on Monday. Carlos Marmol's in. He's trying to retire Brandon Phillips and get out of the 8th inning, give the Cubs a chance in the 9th. Well, Brandon Phillips completely gave up on that nasty slider, had his back turned to the mound. It was called a strike.
Might have gotten back to the inside corner, but it's a devastating pitch from Marmol.
Another one. Woo. How are you feeling right now, Brandon Phillips?
To regroup.
Fouled away, just completely bailed out.
That's a fadeaway swing there.
Griffey was running, by the way, with a pitch.
Everything leaning backwards out of the batter's box as he barely makes contact and fouls that one out of play.
He's taken a couple of very strange swings tonight. Remember how he flailed at strike 3 in his first at bat? Floyd coming over, but no play.
That's a big pitch of the sequence right there as well. After throwing him 3 straight sliders and getting some of the reactions we've seen from Brandon Phillips, Marmol just reared back through him a 94-mile-an-hour heater. He was well tardy on that. If you thought he was confused before, he has no idea what to look for now. Hard slider away.
Here it is with Griffey running. Fly ball, right field, Cliff Floyd. And the 8th inning is over. Floyd, by the way, will hit second in the 9th. Behind it, Ramos Ramirez. Last chance for the Cubs, trailing 4-2. After the game, stick around for Cubs post-game live. Get highlights of all the action and analysis from Dan Plesac. Don't miss Cubs post-game live with Josh Mora and Dan Plesac from Cincinnati immediately following the game right here on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend. And we hope to talking about a great late comeback win for the Cubs. That means they'll have to get at least 2 here in the 9th. David Weathers struck out Derek Lee to end the threat in the 8th inning after the Cubs closed the gap to 2. Bronson Arroyo, by the way, gave up 2 runs tonight. They were both unearned. So no earned runs in his 7 2/3. The 1-1 pitch to Ramirez. Big rip, fouled it back. Top of the screen. 1-2. Marshall and Harang tomorrow night. Brewers are in the 9th, leading 10-2 in St. Louis. The Cubs 2 back in the division. Pulled through the hole, base hit, and the tying run will step in. I'll tell you, Ramirez just keeps coming up with hits in big spots.
I mean, that's a good pitch from David Weathers, probably exactly where he wanted to throw it, just off the outside corner, down around the bottom of the kneecaps, and Ramirez just reached out and hooked a hard ground ball through the left side of the infield.
Cub fans being heard now. Time called, no pitch. As we mentioned earlier, Barry Bonds with home run number 754 tonight in San Francisco, and he may get an opportunity to hit 755. That's because the Giants trail 6-2 in the bottom of the fourth. Pulled foul. It was struck well by Floyd, but wide of first base. And teams are much more likely to give Barry Bonds a chance if the game isn't close. And right now it's 6-2. Here it's 4-2 Cincinnati. Cubs with a leadoff man on base for the first time tonight. Base hit into right. Ramirez will make the turn and easily get to third base. And a big threat now. The tying runs are on base.
And you would expect Angel Pagan to come out and run for Cliff Floyd at first base in this situation. Cliff represents the tying run of the ball game over there at first base. Tomahawks a high fastball just past the diving Scott Hatteberg, who was playing close to the line to protect right there.
Need a little bit of a delay tactic. I saw Angel in the dugout, but he didn't have a helmet on yet, and here he comes.
Once again, that two-headed right fielder comes into play here tonight. A lot of times Pagan will come in as a defensive replacement in right field when the Cubs have a lead. Tonight comes in as a pinch runner here, representing the tying run in the ball game.
First and third, nobody out. Reds don't care at all about Ramirez at third base. DeRosa with a base hit. 4-3. First and second. 3 straight singles to begin the ninth. That's 3 hits for Mark.
DeRosa had been hitless against stormy weathers. 0 for 6 lifetime. Jumps on the first pitch he sees. Clean single into left field. See what Lou chooses to do right here. Jock Jones could be asked to put down a sac bunt. He's done it twice this season.
Not showing bunt, and he golfs it foul. It's the first earned run for the Cubs tonight. A 1-run game in the ninth. The 0-1 pitch. Ground ball right side. They'll get 1 at second base. That's it. Pagan with a turn at third base, and Keppinger was keeping an eye on him. So a fielder's choice for Jock. First and third, 1 out.
It's a pretty heads-up play by Brandon Phillips. He went a long way to his left to get to this ball. You'll see how far he goes. There's nobody there covering first base. David Weathers was late breaking off the mound. Had the presence of mind to wheel around and get the force play at second base. Not a lot of second basemen would make that play.
And Pete McCannon will head out to the mound.
Jason Kendall, the hitter at the plate, has had the best success of any Cubs hitter against David Weathers in their respective careers. 7 for 18. That's a .389 batting average. Kendall actually has a home run against David Weathers.
Bob, the Reds, when leading after 8 innings this year, 38-0. They have not lost with a lead in the 9th inning. But the Cubs now, with a runner at third base, with less than 2 outs, have a chance here. First and third, the double play in order, as you mentioned. Jason Kendall trying to come up with what would be by far his biggest hit as a Chicago Cub. And doesn't even need a hit to tie it. Let's just say this. This is by far his biggest at bat as a Cub.
Will have a huge hole in the right side of the infield to work with. Scott Hatteberg will hold on Jock Jones over there at first base. Brandon Phillips will probably cheat a step or two in and a step or two to his right in anticipation of a possible double play at second.
Here we go, the fake to third, just to see what the Cubs had up their sleeve. The pitch, blowing away. By the way, when Lou Piniella was the manager here in Cincinnati from 1990 to 92, the Reds' AAA manager was Pete McCannon. Now they're matching wits in 2007.
Fake to third, look back to first. Part of that is to hope that Jock Jones will commit over there at first base, maybe break early for second. Also, they're trying to see if Jason Kendall may commit something at home plate, if the Cubs might have a squeeze play on right here.
2-0, Fontenot on deck. In Marmol's spot. Strike one, 2-1.
Usually a good hit and run count, good squeeze count. Weathers does not want to go to a 3-1 count to Jason Kendall. He'll probably get a good pitch to handle right here.
Swings away, base hit, tie game. Jason Kendall with an RBI single, and it's 4-4.
Sinker belt high over the middle of the plate for Jason Kendall. The biggest knock as a member of the Cubs through the left side. Boy, you gotta love it. Cubs weren't making much noise at all tonight offensively against Bronson Arroyo. Have really come alive here in the 9th inning against the Reds closer.
And they don't want to stop now. First and second, still only 1 out. A chance now to get the lead. Fontenot, the pinch hitter, ball 1. A blown save for David Weathers. Up the middle, base hit. Jones coming around. He'll try to score. Throw the plate. He is out. They got him. A collision at home plate. Freel to Ross. And we remain tied. What a play And Ryan Freel has been all world tonight, keeping this game tied on the bare hand pickup, and then Ross held on.
The barehanded pickup is what made the play. You see third basemen do this. You rarely see an outfielder barehand the ball. David Ross not giving an inch, standing right in that third baseline, refused to give way to Jock Jones and was able to hold on after the collision.
Fontenot with a 5th hit of the inning. Soriano lines out. What a half inning. So the Cubs can't take the lead, but they tie it with 2 big ones. Kendall tying it up. The Cubs tried to take the lead, but Dave Ross held on to get the out. It's 4-4.
With a frantic comeback in the top half of the 9th inning to score a couple of runs. A great play by Ryan Freel in center to cut down Jock Jones. It looked like he slowed down momentarily there around third base, but then turned it back on. Collision at home plate. David Ross able to hang on to the ball. Man. 5 knocks in the inning for the Cubs, only able to push across 2.
And then Soriano lined out to second to end the inning. So 4-4, and it's Bob Howery to pitch. Angel Pagan stays in to play right.
And don't forget, it had rained most of the evening here in Cincinnati. We played through a light mist, at other times a heavier mist. The footing may still be a little treacherous out there, especially cutting sharp corners around the bases.
Norris Hopper with his first at bat, and he fouls it away. Well, I think it's safe to say if it weren't for Ryan Freel, the Cubs would be ahead right now. I mean, he has made a couple of terrific defensive plays. He's gotten on base 3 times and has scored twice. Norris Hopper with an opposite field single. And remember what we talked about. If you've been with us since we hit the air, Pete Mackanin in his back pocket has one of the best clutch hitting pinch hitters in the game today, Javier Valentin, who already on this homestand has 2 game-ending RBI hits. It's going to be Juan Castro.
Especially big for the Cubs to put a 0 up here in the bottom half of the 9th inning, obviously to make this game go on a little bit longer. But we've talked about that ineffective Reds bullpen other than David Weathers. David Weathers now out of the ball game as Castro will come in to bunt for him.
It's a successful sacrifice. Hopper's now at second.
About Castro probably going to have elbow surgery at some point in the near future, but called up here, gets an opportunity to dump a sac bunt down the first baseline, move Hopper into scoring position with 1 out.
A frantic top of the 9th. And Bob Howery trying to settle things down here in the last of the 9th. The guy we just talked about, Javier Valentin, is now in the on-deck circle. He would bat for Dave Ross. Encarnacion 1 for 4. The hit was a big one, a home run. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Fouled straight back. Cubs tied it with 2 in the 9th. The RBI hits DeRosa and Kendall. Didn't mean to. 1-2. I think Edwin Encarnacion had a broken bone in his forearm just flashed before his eyes. It's fortunate that ball hit the bat and not him. The blown save for David Weathers, his 5th. He's 20 for 25.
Looks like the strawberries are in season for Edwin Encarnacion. He slide around head first, feet first. Those open wounds down there around the kneecap area. It looks like he's broken a couple of them open.
Oh. 2-2. It's a final in St. Louis. Brewers 12, Cardinals 2. Cubs need to win to remain 2 out. Outside. A walk to Encarnacion would not be the worst thing in the world. It would set up a double play. Howie wants to get this batter. The pitch. Bouncer. Fair. And the Reds are going to win it. Hopper scores. And the final tonight, the Reds 5, the Cubs 4. Well, they have done this celebration several times this week. They beat the Brewers 3-4. And heartbreak for the Cubs, who thought they were taking the lead in the top of the inning. But that bang-bang play at the plate quickly reversed the momentum, and they beat Bob Howery in the ninth. Edwin Encarnacion with a game-winning hit.
A fastball middle of the plate for Encarnacion. He didn't get all of it, but got enough of it to get it past Aramis Ramirez down into the left field corner to drive home Norris Hopper.
So the Nissan drive of the game will be the final swing. Just fair. And the Reds win 5-4. Well, another quirky baseball rule. We see it happen a lot. David Weathers, who blew the save, gets the win. And Bob Howery takes the loss. So Weathers 2-3. Howery dropping to 5-6. 3 hours 15 minutes as the Reds take game 1 of this series. So that'll do it for our game coverage, but stay tuned. Much more to come on Post Game Live. Once again, the final score tonight in a thriller: the Reds 5, the Cubs 4. Our next Cubs telecast here on Comcast Sportsnet will be tomorrow night. We'll hit the air at 6 o'clock Central Time. Left-hander Sean Marshall against right-hander Aaron Harang. In-game scoring provided by ScorePad. For Bob Brenly and our great crew, this is Len Casper. You've been watching Chicago Cubs baseball on Comcast Sportsnet. Stay tuned. Post Game Live coming up.